Hey, so here is Yeti's snippet from Friday. We worked on lobby behaviors, tolerance, seeing another dog. So Frankie is the black lab that's with me. And Yeti is definitely trying to get Ashley's attention. So what we're working here is what I like to call the tattletale energy. And I think I talked to you a little bit about this, where when Yeti looks at Frankie, we're going to reward that, but we're going to reward it so fast and so early enough that so before he barks. So think of it like he sees it, and before he would do bark, 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 we're going to say, yes, good boy. And then he looks to us every time he sees that dog because, oh, I saw the thing that would normally make me bark, but I'm going to look at you instead. So like right there, you can see where he's like, oh, hey, 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 I looked at the dog. Give me that treat. And what I'm doing with Frankie is pushing that boundary with Yeti. So right there, it was a little too close. So we redirected with Yeti. We're going to focus again. I get them focused, get them working on it, and we build that threshold back up. This is teaching kind of like positive association, that when I see a dog, I can be on a leash and get rewarded for seeing another dog. Yeti kind of has this built up energy. It's almost a little bit of fear of like, there's another dog. So teaching him that unpredictability of a dog being on leash, you're going to protect that boundary for him. And Frankie is a big, goofy energy. Like you can just see his tail doesn't stop when we're working. He's very active, but he's very active in his own little bubble. He is happy to be in his bubble. He's not so focused on Yeti like some dogs may be. So this is where once we get him comfortable with Frankie, then we'll do a dog that maybe is a lot more interested in Yeti as we build up our training skills. But you can see Yeti really getting the idea of, okay, I look at you and I get something. I look at you and I get something. And he started to bark there, and she just said, Yeti, and he turned right around like, oh, hey, yeah. So hold on for a second. We're going to fast forward a little bit, and then it's going to be, actually right here is where I take Yeti. Ashley's going to take Frankie. Now, right here, we're using the opportunity to discuss, I'm teaching Ashley how to market and where we're marking the behavior. So what I mean by marking is the moment Yeti does something that we want him to do, we're giving him a yes. So yeah, using that yes marker, or when he doesn't want to do something we want, it's that negative marker. So when we set up these things, one, I always like to make sure everyone involved in the process knows what we're doing, but also I wanted to be very specific on Yeti. This is where timing does play a big part in training. So this is where she had the opportunity to work with him, and then I'm going to step in and see if I can clarify some of those behaviors. So I got a little bit closer, and I marked it. You can see Yeti, literally the moment he hears that yes, his whole body, like he stacks himself like, oh, yes, please. So let's give it a second, and I'll kind of talk through it. So Yeti looked at Frankie, chose to look at me. And he does jump up when he doesn't get that acknowledgement. And that's something that we have to work on, and we have been working on, of like, he can get acknowledgement, but he doesn't have to like, hey, like he's demanding that attention. So right there, I just gave him a yes for looking at Frank, gave him a little correction to try to lean and forward into that leash, and then I rewarded him right after. So right here, he looked at Frankie, I'm going to reward that. Yes, good boy. Yes, good boy. He looked at him again. She's going to bring Frankie back around. And you see Yeti staring at Frankie, no big reactions. I dropped a treat. So I was like, oh no, where did it go? I'm going to ask Yeti for his attention. And you can kind of see where he's trying to like half sit, like he wants to, but not quite there yet. So I'm going to mark that yes. And I asked her to take Frankie out of the building and walk back. So in just a second, you'll see us like we're checking in or we're checking out. And I asked Yeti to fix it. I asked him for a sit. So right here, right there, he looked at him and I rewarded him. Yes, good boy. Now you don't always have to give a treat. You can just mark the behavior. Yes, good. And again, he looked and I rewarded. So they're going to walk right past. And you kind of saw that quick look from Yeti. I rewarded that behavior. I did pay him on that one. They're going to walk past again, and we're going to see a little bit different reaction on Yeti. So again, another dog, a little distracted by the treats. He's like, okay, I'll tolerate this. I'm getting paid. It's worth it. Now I am talking to her about some technique right here and how to lure and other things that we can do. But if you wait a second, we do get Yeti to kind of have a bigger reaction with Frankie. Okay, so right here, you can see Yeti turn around and he's like, oh, there's Gus, there's Frankie. What am I doing? And I just, I need you to sit. And you can see the sneeze, that's his attitude coming out. I ask him for a sit. He redirects and he focuses. Now he's starting to get heightened. There's people that are going to start coming in. There's some activity that's going to happen, and it just kind of stacks too many things in his environment. The other part of this is that Yeti, he'd give me a little talk, not a big bark, nothing like this, but when he's in front of you, he's resource guarding. He's saying, this is mine. Now there's that big reaction. Now what I did is I put my body between me and Yeti. So like I'm the wall, and see how Yeti was like, okay, I guess, and he let it go. That right there is when we have big reactions. Because when he's in front, he's going to try to claim you as your space. Like, you are his. And that's what we're stopping is when you're on leash, doesn't matter where I am, in front of you or behind you, no barking. And you can see now, he's a lot more comfortable with this. But also, there are 2 other people in the lobby. Now, it doesn't help that Frankie is all like, hey, there's another trainer who has cookies. I want these. But Yeti is tolerating it very, very well. Now you're going to see us do some walking back and forth. I wanted to work on some movement stuff with a busy lobby, just to really push our thresholds for Mr. Yeti. Because sometimes movement is a little bit easier than just standing. And you can see he did a little bark and I just, let's keep going. The more that we treat it with some neutrality, the more the dogs are able to process it. And look at that. Yay, that's perfect. Let us know if you have any questions. He did really well here. Look, there's a full lobby of people and there's going to be some dogs. He did really well. We were able to build up that tolerance. Let us know if you have any questions and we'll go from here.